Welcome to Pemberley Farm. Well, today I thought I would show you our mushroom log setup. You'll notice that these racks, there's a canopy over them. We're in the woods. Sorry about the airplane going over. Every time you start to film, something happens. But anyway, we're going to go on even with the airplane. These logs have only started fruiting just a little bit, and they're younger, so to speak, than the ones I'm going to show you in just a minute. And this little operation right here is logs soaking. It's called forcing, and it's forcing them to fruit. They've been inoculated long enough that it won't hurt to do that to them. Now these are logs that have been fruiting. We have harvested a number of times off of these logs. These logs are ones that were inoculated last February. And so we usually do our inoculation and do a class in February. And these are logs from last February. And like I say, we have harvested off of them a number of times. Now, the ones on the very end are from this February's class. For those of you that aren't local and don't know, we teach how-to classes and a lot of things like this. How to grow your own mushrooms, how to bake your own bread, how to preserve your food, a lot of different things, how to cook on an open fire. So, anyway, I'm about to harvest the everything but real small ones here, but I thought I would give you a peek at it and let you see them growing. A few years ago we had some logs that, these are not them, there's something happened to them, but anyway, a few years ago we had some logs that fruited so much that there was, one of the logs had 100 mushrooms on it. I counted them, it was amazing. But these have done well. This is not their first fruit, so they've been doing well. I'm going to pick them. We're going to make cream of mushroom soup, homemade. If you've never had homemade from fresh shiitake mushrooms, I forgot to tell you that. These are shiitakes. They're so big, some of them, they look like portobellos, don't they? But they are shiitakes. And shiitakes are a very meaty mushroom, very good for you as far as nutrition. And medicinally, they're good for you. So anyway, we'll go back in the house in a little bit after I pick these and make some cream of mushroom soup. But I thought you might want to see them growing, because they sure are pretty. Okay, I've picked that large Tupperware bowl full, overflowing, and you see there's still a good many young mushrooms here. Something I didn't think to point out when I first started filming was they grow all the way around the log. See, those are underneath. So they'll grow on the top, on the side, underneath. They grow all the way around the logs. So, anyway, and you also notice that we have filtered sunlight here. You can't raise them in just bright open sun. So, that's something to think about, because it is winter and these trees aren't as leafy as they might be. That's why we have these shade covers on them, so that the sun doesn't get too hot on them and dry them out. They don't like to be dry. They don't like to be too wet either, but they for sure don't like to be dry. Well, this is the second half to the mushrooms you just saw growing outside and that we picked. And now we're going to make the cream homemade from fresh, grown on our farm mushrooms, cream of mushroom soup. So what do we have? We have our mushrooms, half a pound of mushrooms cut up. We have 2 tablespoons of butter, probably a little more because we like butter, and I'm looking at my recipe. I've made this several times, but I always have to look at the recipe. And I'll tell you that this is what the recipe is, but it's not unlike me to add a little more of this or that, just like the butter, okay? So anyway, you can figure that out as you cook it. A 1/4 cup of onion, there's a little more than a 1/4 cup here. 6 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, 2 cans of chicken broth, and I've just got 2 cups of chicken broth here. A cup of half and half. You can also use heavy cream, and I just kind of diluted some with more chicken broth. So, you know, you can, it depends on what you have on hand. We use half and half in our coffee, so I have that on hand, but I also keep on hand whipping cream. So, you know, it just depends on what you have on hand. And if you don't want that high of fat, I would say you could use whole milk. So, you know, like I say, you can play with it. A lot of times, especially on a new recipe, I may make it by the recipe the first time, and then all bets are off after that. I may tweak it and play with it some. All right, so that's, also 2 cloves of garlic. So that's what is here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to saute in the butter the mushrooms and the onions until they are tender, okay? And the mushrooms, you know, this will cook down. These will cook down and be smaller than this. They won't look like the mushroom soup in the can, I'll tell you. These are shiitake mushrooms again, and they are so meaty. They're a beefy mushroom, okay? And so after I do that, then I'm going to mix the flour and the salt and pepper and a can of the broth, and about a cup of the broth, and I'm going to mix it up real good with a whisk or a fork, whatever you have, until it's smooth, and then I'm going to stir it into the mushroom mixture. Now, I'm by myself today, and I'm not good at these solo filming things when it comes to the cooking part. So as I go through each step, I will get the camera and show you, but I don't think I can just smoothly go through the whole thing all at once. So what I'm fixing to do now is I'll turn you off, and I'm going to put the butter and the onions and the mushrooms in the pan, in the skillet, and I'm going to kind of stir fry them until they're tender. Then I will show you what it looks like. Then we'll go on to the next step, and I'll show you what each step looks like as we go through it. Okay, you saw the photograph of the mushrooms, onions, and garlic. I forgot to tell you to include the garlic in that, in the pan. And so now what we're doing is we're going to combine our flour and our salt and pepper. And we're going to add a cup of our chicken broth, or thereabouts. Okay, I'm going to mix that up. We don't want a lot of little clumps in there, so we just mix it up. Okay, so this is real easy. This is a quick cream of mushroom soup. I mean, it's not hard at all. So that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to put it into the pan over the mushrooms, and I'll show you that when I get it in the pan. Alright, so now I've got it in the pan. I am going to add the rest of the chicken broth in there, and then I will show you. Okay, here it is in the pan. We're going to let it cook until it gets real thick. Kind of bring it to a boil and let it get thickened up. And it'll take about 2 minutes. Then we're going to reduce the heat and stir in our cream. So I'll turn you off and finish this up. Now, I will tell you that to me 6 tablespoons of flour is an awful lot for this, and so I usually add more chicken broth. And that's probably what I'm about to do. Even though the cream will help thin it out too, it's still, this is pretty thick. Okay, you can see it is thick, and now I'm going to add the cream. I'm going to mix it in really good, and then I'm going to leave it on simmer, stirring every once in a while for about 15 minutes. Now, I will tell you that I added another half a cup of chicken broth to it. So, you know, you'll feel it. If you're a cook and you cook from scratch very much, you can feel the difference when you're cooking it. Okay, our soup is done, and I'll bring the camera over here in a minute and so you can have a close-up of it. But our soup is done, and you can see it's very meaty, it's very beefy and thick. Now, if you don't like it quite so thick, add more chicken broth. As a matter of fact, I added some more chicken broth after even the half a cup. So it's just according to what you like. So add more chicken broth if it's still too thick for you. Also, if you want it, I've got it here with crackers, showing it with crackers, but if you wanted a sandwich with it or a soup and salad, you could do all manner of things. But understand that this isn't like just cream of mushroom soup in a can. This is a hearty soup, and so it's filling, and it's oh so yummy. Well, thank you for coming along with us today and watching our video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and like and share our videos with those that you know and love. And so also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We are Pemberley Farm Homestead. Now, let me tell you, if you want to see this recipe written out, go to our Facebook page, Pemberley Farm Homestead, and scroll down a little ways, and you can see where we had a mushroom class and teaching people how to grow their own mushrooms. And I did a thank you for all the people that came to the class. There's a picture of some from the distance of them working on their logs, and then the recipe is in that post written out. Now, let me also tell you, if you didn't know, that we offer classes, all manner of homestead how-to classes, bread baking and open fire cooking, and cheese and butter and yogurt making and canning and gardening, all manner of things. And we will also have a pinned post on Pemberley Farm Homestead on the Facebook page, so that you can go and check out our schedule of when the classes are offered. So again, thank you so much for stopping by to watch, and God bless you from Pemberley Farm.